The moment a murder is discovered, the outcome of the case begins to form, often before investigators even arrive. Solving a homicide isn't about dramatic interrogations or last-minute revelations. It's about procedure, discipline, and the first 10 minutes at the crime scene. In this episode, we'll examine how a forensic investigation truly begins, why those first moments are so critical, and how small, seemingly insignificant errors made early on can permanently damage the search for truth. As the old saying in forensics goes, the first 10 minutes can decide the next 10 years. Every crime scene is temporary. It's a fragile bubble of information that begins to pop the second it's discovered. Weather, people, and simple human curiosity constantly work to erase evidence. Rain washes away footprints, wind scatters fibers, and sunlight degrades biological material. Blood dries, changing its appearance. Odors that could point to a specific chemical or presence dissipate into the air. Even the most well-intentioned actions, like checking a victim for a pulse or opening a window to let in some air, can unintentionally destroy the very clues needed to solve the case. Forensic science operates on one simple, unforgiving principle: evidence is fragile. The earlier it is protected, the more accurately we can reconstruct the events that took place. Evidence doesn't disappear in a dramatic puff of smoke. It disappears quietly, piece by piece, second by second. The first people to arrive at a suspected murder scene are almost never forensic specialists. They're usually patrol officers or emergency medical responders. Their duties are limited, but absolutely critical. First, they must confirm if the victim shows any signs of life. If there's even a chance, their immediate priority is to call for medical assistance. At the same time, they assess the area for any immediate threats. Is the perpetrator still on site? Is there an active danger to the public? Once life and safety are addressed, their focus shifts to securing the area. They are trained to observe without altering the scene more than is absolutely necessary. Every step they take, every door they open, is a potential alteration of the evidence. Their mantra is clear: protect life first, then protect the evidence. Once medical personnel have finished their work and the scene is confirmed as a potential homicide, the next priority is total isolation. Police establish a perimeter, often using yellow tape or physical barriers to create a clear boundary. This isn't just for show. It's a critical step to control the environment. Entry and exit points are strictly controlled, and a log is started immediately. Every single person who enters the scene, from the lead detective to the paramedic, is documented, along with the time they entered, the time they left, and their reason for being there. This process is designed to prevent contamination, which is one of the most common reasons forensic evidence becomes unusable in court. A single uncontrolled entry can introduce foreign DNA from a hair or skin cell, disturb delicate blood spatter patterns, or leave a footprint that sends the investigation in the wrong direction. Before a single piece of evidence is touched, lead investigators conduct what's known as the initial walkthrough. This is a slow, methodical, visual survey of the scene. Nothing is moved. Nothing is collected. They are simply absorbing the environment. They take note of the victim's body position the distribution of bloodstains, and any obvious signs of a struggle like overturned furniture or broken objects. They look for potential points of entry and exit: an open window, a forced door. They also note environmental conditions like the temperature or whether lights are on or off. The purpose of this walkthrough is not to jump to conclusions. It's to form a preliminary hypothesis, a mental blueprint of what might have occurred, all while preserving the scene's context. Now, the process of freezing the scene in time begins. Documentation is the absolute backbone of any forensic investigation. It happens in layers. First, wide-angle photographs are taken to capture the entire scene from various perspectives, showing the overall layout. Next come mid-range photos, which establish the relationship between different objects, for example, showing a weapon in relation to the victim. Finally, close-up images are taken of specific pieces of evidence, often with a scale for reference. Video walkthroughs are also common, providing a dynamic view of the space. All of this is supplemented by detailed written notes and hand-drawn sketches. This exhaustive process is non-negotiable because once a piece of evidence is collected and moved, the original scene is gone forever. Documentation is the only way to accurately present that scene later to other investigators, to attorneys, and ultimately to a jury. A core principle in forensics is simple. If it wasn't documented, it didn't exist. Before the victim is moved, the body itself undergoes a preliminary assessment at the scene. This is a delicate and crucial step performed by forensic specialists and the medical examiner. They observe the state of rigor mortis, the stiffening of muscles after death, which helps estimate the time of death. They also check for livor mortis, the purplish settling of blood in the lowest parts of the body, which can indicate if the body was moved hours after death. They carefully note any visible wounds, their location, and their nature. Are there defensive injuries on the hands or arms, suggesting a struggle? The body's position relative to surrounding evidence is also critically important. In forensics, the victim's body is more than just a tragic centerpiece. It is the most significant piece of evidence at the entire scene. Only after the scene has been thoroughly documented does the methodical process of evidence collection begin. This is a slow, painstaking procedure. Each piece of potential evidence is handled individually. A firearm is collected differently than a blood-soaked garment or a single strand of hair. Items are carefully packaged in appropriate containers, paper bags. For biological evidence to prevent mold, rigid boxes for firearms to preserve fingerprints. Each package is sealed, labeled with the exact time and location it was found, and signed by the collector. This kicks off the chain of custody, a meticulous log that tracks the evidence from the crime scene to the lab, and finally to the courtroom. A failure in this process doesn't just weaken a case, it can destroy it entirely. An airtight chain of custody ensures that the evidence presented in court is the exact same evidence, found at the scene, unaltered and uncontaminated. The vast majority of unsolved murders don't remain mysteries. Because the truth was too complex to uncover, they remain unsolved because the truth was damaged, contaminated, or lost at the very beginning. The first 10 minutes and the hours that follow are not filled with dramatic standoffs or sudden confessions. They are quiet, controlled, and intensely procedural. Every step is deliberate. Every action is documented. It's this disciplined approach that determines whether justice is even possible. Forensics doesn't start in the lab. It starts at the scene, in those first critical moments. Thanks for watching, and be sure to subscribe for our next episode.